Okay, so this week we're at my local grocery store trying to pick out a steak. We have London broil on sale this week for $3.99 a pound. So this is what I'm cooking up this week. London broil I also use for beef jerky as well. But I'm gonna show you how this compares to maybe like a T-bone for $12.49 a pound. And I'm going to guarantee you guys that if you cook this way, it's going to be delicious. It's going to be just as tender as any other piece of steak, okay? So $3.99 opposed to $12.49 or maybe even higher, depends on where you go. This meal, I'm doing it just out of Hannaford today. I thought that would be a great idea because I've cooked this many times. So this is what we're doing. We're shopping for a London broil. I got my piece of meat. I'm headed home. We're gonna get this recipe started. Okay, so on with this recipe. Like I said in the store, we were searching for a piece of London broil. I did get a piece of London broil, and this is what we are gonna cook today. Now, you know, listen, it's probably just like everybody else, right? We're all getting tired of those high prices, super high prices right now. X amount of dollars, $16, $12, $18, $22 a pound for meat. It's ridiculous, all right? I've been making this for a very long time. A lot of people that I know used to kind of make fun of me because I'm like, yeah, why don't you just, you know, cook up a piece of London broil and, you know, so on and so forth. And they look at me like, you know, you're chewing on a piece of rawhide. It's not. It's all in how you cook it, right? So we've got a piece of London broil here. It's 1.44 pounds, so almost a pound and a half. I'm gonna get 2 meals out of this, right? I paid $5.70. Hold on a second. We paid $5.75 for this piece of London broil, okay? And I'm gonna get 2 meals out of it. So what's that, like $2.80 a meal for meat? Okay, I know you guys are probably still giggling like, you know, how's that going to be tender? I'm telling you, this is going to be tender like if you made a T-bone, a porterhouse. Just stick by with me. You're gonna see exactly how I do this. Now I do have a cast iron skillet. I'm doing this in a cast iron skillet today. I do have a thermal pen as well to check temperatures on that. Some salt and pepper like you've seen on the board, and a little bit of vegetable oil. And that's all that it's going to take to make this steak outstanding, okay? We're going to just use the taste of the meat itself and some salt and pepper and some oil. We're going to build a crust on this, and we're basically we're gonna get going with this. It's a super easy recipe. You guys, I guarantee you're going to love this. Like I said in the first part of the video, I know I'm repeating myself, but I also make my beef jerky out of this, right? It's a very lean piece of meat. So the secret to cooking this and to get it right is to cook it at a certain temperature. I'm going to pull this between 120, 125 and 129, and I'm going to let it rest. But I'm going to cut this in half, get 2 meals out of it, okay? I'll be right back with you. All right, so on with this recipe. We're just gonna turn around and put this on another cutting board just so I don't get my normal cutting board. It's a little just easier to clean, that's all. So, okay, so let's take this out. We're gonna put this here, and we're gonna put this off camera a little bit, and we're just gonna kind of estimate what a meal would be, right? So I'm gonna go from, you know, this side, you know, maybe over to here. Now the thing with London broil is that when you cut this, you have to cut across the fiber, across the muscle tissue, right? So you have to, you know, if the muscle tissue is running this way, you cut it this way. This isn't going to take long to cook, okay? So that's the piece that we're going to have for dinner or for lunch or whatever we want to call it. And well, you see how simple. All we're going to do is we're going to salt it generously, okay? And then we're going to fresh cracked pepper it, just like this. And these are the only two flavors that I am cleaning my hands off to the side. I got a little bit of bleach on that towel there. So, bleach and water. All right, so the other side, we're gonna generously salt that as well. And we're gonna pepper it up. If you have, you can use regular pepper if you want to, like, you know, the powdered pepper. You don't have to necessarily use a cracker if you don't have one, or mill or whatever. You don't have to do that. All right. And then we're just gonna roll the piece of steak around just to get the edges and all the pepper and whatnot off of this, right? Because it all needs to be done. All right, that is how we're seasoning that. All right, and that's all we're doing to it. You're gonna be surprised how this comes out, guys. I'm gonna throw this in a pan. I'm using a cast iron skillet for this. The thing you have to remember is don't get it too close to the edges. I'll explain that when I turn around and drop this in the pan. Right back. Okay, so we're back over at the stove. We're going to drop this steak in. I got a very, very hot cast iron pan here with a little bit of oil on it to get a nice little crust. That's the whole idea of this, okay? And we're only going to build this, we're only going to take this to probably 125 to 130 temperature, because so we're shooting for a medium rare, okay? So here we're going to go. I'm going to just drop the steak in. Also, a couple things that I kind of want to explain to you guys too at this point is that when you drop the steak in, number one, the pan temperature is going to go down, and it definitely will drop. I take my steak out. I took this out, I don't know, maybe an hour, 45 minutes or so before I actually dropped it in the pan. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just we're going to sear this on both ends, on both sides. And you can see, because I'm using a cast iron pan, this pan around the edges, you don't think so, and that's why I cut the steak in half, okay? If you have the steak towards the end of the pan around the edges, that gets really hot. So the edge of your steak, about an inch in from the edge of your steak, is going to cook really fast, okay? But we're trying to keep this all medium rare, okay? That's the trick here. So if you're using a cast iron pan, don't squeeze the steak in. You know, if your steak is like a little bigger than the pan and you kind of push it in the pan, don't do that. Just cut the steak in half. Either do two pieces, two separate pans. Trust me, it'll be well worth your time on that. Okay. So, all right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let you guys go for a minute or two. We're gonna sear this, and then I'll be back. I'll show you what that flip side is going to look like, and then we're going to show you how to carve it. So the two biggest things to a London broil, at least what I found out all the years of cooking this, is the temperature you cook it at and how you slice it. Okay, so that's the two secrets. Now, they're not really secrets, it's just one of those things that you learn as time goes on. Okay, so they're the two things. I'll be back with you guys in just a couple of minutes when I flip this and get a sear on it. All right, so we are on our first flip. I'm not even measuring temperature at this point, okay? This is all we're doing. You can flip it with a fork. You can flip it with a set of tongs if you want to. It's still very, very, very rare inside. But this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a little bit of caramelization. Just keep building that crust. So now this side here, I'm going to leave on this side for about, I don't know, minute and a half, 2 minutes. I'm actually going to set a timer there just so I don't forget. And I'll bring you guys back with me when this is almost done. This is so simple. 2 minutes on this side, and then I'm going to flip it 1 minute, flip it another minute, flip it 1 minute. And that's what I do to get my internal temperature, and one side doesn't cook faster than the other. All right? So hang in there. I'll bring you back when this is almost done. All right, that 2 minutes is up. We're going to go for the second flip here. We're going to turn it over. You can see it's getting a little bit brown. Now it's just literally every single minute I'm going to flip it back and forth. So I'm going to let it sit here for 1 minute. The timer goes off. It goes to the other side for a minute, and then we're going to keep hitting our temperature with my probe. Okay, so we've still got some time to go here. We're only at like 109. All right, so we got a few degrees to go, and when this is done, I'll take you back, bring you back with me. We're going to let this rest for, I don't know, probably 5 to 10 minutes roughly. I got a nice sauce to go with this too that I made up in a quick recipe that I usually do. So we'll plate it with that too, and some mashed potatoes. All right, I'll see you guys in just a couple of minutes after this steak rests, and I'll show you how to cut this up. Let the steak rest for about 10 minutes, and we pulled it at, I got a little bit sidetracked, so forgive me. We pulled it at a little over 130, so this might not be as rare, but you know, you still have to cut it the same way regardless, but it's not going to be like shoe leather, that I can guarantee you. Okay, so here's the deal with this. The fibers are, you probably can't even see this. See the fibers? They're running, the lines that are in the meat are kind of running down like this. So that means that you got to cut it going cross grain, okay? So you're cutting across the muscle fiber, all right? So hopefully you guys can see this. So I do two things. I don't only cut it across the grain, muscle fiber, whatever you want to call it. I also cut it on a bias. So instead of having my knife straight up and down like that, I actually tilt it back. Okay, so this is going to be my first cut. Okay, yeah, see, that's perfect. All right, so now this, I know this is a little bit of work, but trust me, if you want to save a little bit of money and have some steak, this is the way to do it. There's nothing wrong with this cut of meat. Okay, so this is how my London broil comes out, just like this. And you want to cut it to the point where you can literally just pull it apart with no effort. If you can get to that point, that's what you're looking for. All right, so I'm gonna cut up the rest of this. Let me try this while I'm at it here. Let me see. Yeah, so, oh, it's wonderful. I know some people have a problem with London broil, but I'm telling you, if you cook it like this, cut it on the bias. Maybe I didn't have to cook it. Maybe I should have paid attention a little bit more, but that's pretty much perfect. That's how I like it. Maybe a degree or 3 prior to this would have been even a little bit better for me. But it's not tough. It's not chewy. It's very tender. All right, let me get going. I'm gonna cut the rest of this up. Here we go. Let's get a plate in here, and let's plate this up. All right. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start out with some homemade mashed potatoes. My recipe for these for potatoes are on my YouTube channel. If you want to go and see that, you can see how I make these. Probably make this almost like everybody else does, but you know, there's different variations and everything. So let's get a little bit of mash going there. And then I think what we're going to do also is we're going to serve this with a little bit of coleslaw on the side as well. So this is, let's just move this over a little bit. Okay, just like that. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to get on with the steak here. So the steak, I'm just going to, I didn't cut it all up because I just wanted to, it's really for plating purposes. Okay, so we're gonna just kind of put that in there like that, and then we're gonna take the rest of this and we're going to just pile it on top here. Okay, just like that. Now, what I'll do is, we have some really nice pan sauce here that I made. Okay, this is a mushroom and fresh thyme and garlic pan sauce. We're gonna throw some sauce right here in front. You can plate this, put this wherever you want to. You can even just put a little bit there, just like that on top. All right, and now let me clean up my plate. Just like that. You could put a little dollop of, a lot of butter in my mashed potatoes, so I don't put butter back on top because there's a lot in there. Okay, guys, this is it. This is how I cook my my London broil. 125 to 130. This was about 132, so it's a little over what I like. Homemade mashed potatoes and homemade coleslaw. If you guys didn't catch this recipe for the coleslaw, give that a shot. This is very good. And the pan sauce is pretty simple. It's just portobello mushrooms, fresh garlic, fresh thyme, fresh parsley. There's a little beef stock in there. I just cooked that down to half, and a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it up, and that is how I made the pan sauce for this. Okay, guys, so that's it. That's how you do it. If you guys want to save a little bit of money, still have a good deal, a good lunch or a good dinner for the family, make this. I guarantee you, follow this, you won't be sorry. It's a great meal. Okay, guys, until the next recipe, I am going to sit down and eat my lunch. All right, until the next one, have a great day.